Today, I'm critiquing a double lot in Boca Raton, Spanish River Road that is recently renovated. I'm going to give this property an Arvin score at the end of the video, so if you ever decide to renovate, combine lots, build a generational compound like this, you won't make the same mistakes. My name is Arvin Haddad. I'm the guy who makes sure you have the highest resale value when you design, build, or buy your dream home. Let's get started.
All I've been hearing about is 200 feet on the Intracoastal on Spanish River Road in Boca on a double lot. So I had to fly all the way here from New York City to see this place before we put it on the market, and now we're here.
Listen, a generational estate is a term that's used loosely in our business. Right here, we're looking at a generational floor plan of a 9,000 square foot main house with a 3,000 square foot guest house connected by a 2-story atrium club room.
You're not going to believe it until you see it. Let's go check it out.
Let's do it.
Before we go in, we have a problem. Do you know what a generational compound means? A generational compound is a property that you have multiple generations of the same family living together. This typically happens to save money, okay? It's common in parts of the world, but it doesn't really happen in the ultra high end. In Boca Raton, Spanish River Road, where the property is $27.5 million. It doesn't matter which part of the world you are. In my experience, when people are that wealthy, the kids have their own house, the grandparents have their own property, they might have a vacation home together. So if you're planning to do this with your ultra luxury lot, the double lot, it's really not a demographic that it's that big to target.
Wow, so you're not kidding. Generational floor plan, generational finishes.
Certainly is. I mean, the scale of this house being 18,000 square feet under roof just gives you enough room for friends, family, hosting parties. I remember as a kid growing up watching movies and reading books like The Great Gatsby and, all of these big mega mansions where they were just built to not only house a family, but also to host galas of 500 people.
Dude, did we watch the same movie or read the same book? Have you seen The Great Gatsby? The size of and scale of these rooms you're showing me is like a, $3-4 million home. This is far beyond my visuals from the Great Gatsby book I read or the movies I've watched. Looks pretty small for 500 people.
So wait a minute. That's also this house, but all this is also this house?
Yep.
Okay, let me break it down so it will make sense to you. Here's the main house, right? You got 3 bedrooms upstairs, an office downstairs, and multiple living areas, a big kitchen. And then you have this hallway, which is also functions as a clubhouse, an atrium in the middle that connects the 2 structures. And then you have this really ugly kind of shoe inspired architecture on this side that is not proportional or symmetric with the main structure whatsoever, as your guest house that has its own kitchen.
You got 200 feet of frontage, just under an acre.
Beautiful kitchen here. This was made by Neff Kitchens. 3 kitchens in the house. You'll see 1 in the atrium, and then you have a full functioning kitchen in the guest house as well. So you have main house, 9,000 square feet, atrium in the middle, and then guest house on the other side. 3 bedrooms over there, full functioning kitchen. It's just generational home at its finest.
All right, and we've also only seen like 1/100th of this house. There's so much to see. You've got beautiful bedrooms, en suites, sitting rooms, beautiful dining room. Can we go see the atrium?
Let's do it.
All right, let's go.
Really? Is that good for retention? Walk opposite directions. Okay, let me talk about the finishes because they mentioned generational finishes as if this is really like normal. First big objection I have is that using these very normal, typical luxury finishes that you would see in any other property on a very, shall we say, a Caribbean style architecture, okay? The property from the exterior, at least the main house, has quite a bit of identity and character as to what it is, right? You have these terraces outside. The architecture definitely kind of screams and lets you know this is a Caribbean inspired property. And then you're using finishes on the interior that is good palette, but it doesn't really talk whatsoever to the exterior architecture at all.
Oh man, where did you go? Okay, this is insane.
This is what we were talking about. 2-story atrium, combining both houses. The perfect area to have a party with 500 people.
500 people? Dude, I'm calling the freaking fire department myself. How are you throwing these numbers? How are you going to freaking fit 500 people in that club room? Maybe in the entire property if all the bedrooms are full, but not in that freaking club room, okay?
So when did they do all of this work? Like they had to knock everything down and start it all fresh?
Exactly. So the renovation was just completed here. It's never been lived in before.
Wow.
We're talking a full, complete rebuild down to the studs. That ended up becoming a masterpiece.
Full, complete rebuild down to the studs. That became a masterpiece. We have a problem. There's an old video of this property. But before we look at that, they don't really show you all the property. But what they've stupidly done here has done this one of these like 3D tours of a $27.5 million house. So you can actually go inside the house like as if you're walking in it, which I would never, ever recommend for an ultra luxury property because it feels like you're trespassing. It just like you just take all the spirit of the house away from it. Okay. If you have a luxury property, ultra luxury property, you need like 10, 15 good photos. Okay. It just should be just enough photos to bring the right people into the doors and keep a little bit of mystery and let the property sell itself, okay? I can't believe Ryan is okay with marketing a property of this caliber, this size, this price point with a 3D tour, okay? Let's take a look, and then I will show you guys the before renovations video as well. Okay, here we are in the motor court. I'm going to go through the house. This is the wow factor, and they've blocked it with a statue when you had really beautiful water views. I don't know why they did that. If you turn right, this is your formal living space, okay, which is really, really small with a club seating. Does not scream 500 or Great Gatsby to me. And then you have a formal dining room, which again, it's like a $3-4 million property. If you turn around and keep going this way, before we go to the family areas, which they did show, let's go to the other side of the house because it kind of splits in two. You have another family room over here, which doesn't have any functionality, and an office. Okay, I don't know what this is for. It doesn't give me a bar or a TV or any idea. Just really ugly furniture. Now we turn around over here. You go to this side, and before we go to the other side of the property, here's you have a elevator going up. You have a bathroom, powder room for this side of the house, and then this is going to get really narrow. Very narrow hallway, and you come over here. Before you go to the garage, there's another office over here. So for some reason, they thought to stage two offices next to each other, which is really, really silly. Horrible, horrible staging. And then you have very ugly garages over here, which have not been renovated whatsoever. Okay, before we go upstairs, let's go to the other side of the house where they actually did show us. Now, I want to show you guys a couple of things over here. First, I like the fact that you have the main living room of the family and the kitchen right next to each other with the breakfast nook, okay? And the color palette and everything they've used is not bad. It just, to me, does not go with the architectural style whatsoever, okay? And it just doesn't seem like everything has been renovated. For example, I still see the gold handles on the doors, which is completely not in. And this really weird thing over here is the fact that you have this kitchen bar sticking out like this, blocking your entrance to the backyard, which is, again, very strange. It's like, why would you set up your, counter space like that? Whereas, dude, this should have been opened, right? Over here, this corner area should have opened to the backyard, and maybe this area should have been closed. Now, the finishes are in the kitchen are not bad at all, but again, I see the handles of the doors and the frames. These handles look super dated to me, so I don't think they've changed that. Now, if you go this way, you get a pantry, and it also connects to the dining area, which I showed you guys earlier, okay? Now, before we go upstairs, or let's go upstairs first, okay? Let's take a look at the bedrooms upstairs, because again, they don't show us all that stuff either. By the way, this feels super weird. I feel like I'm trespassing in someone's home. They should never allow this. Like, I'm sorry. I feel like I should get like a trespassing ticket for this. It just feels so violating. Look at these moldings that are super dated. Okay, I do not think these moldings were even removed and put back together. I think they were just plainly painted. Okay, as soon as you come upstairs, you have a landing area. I really like that. I hate the fact that when you take the stairs, you just land on a hallway and you have to make a left or a right. I really like that area to breathe upstairs. It's a great place to place your upstairs living area, TV room for the family to congregate. So I'm really glad it has that. Now, the primary bedroom is on this side, but first I want to go to the other side because there's 2 other bedrooms over here. And the setup is a little bit strange. So the bedroom to immediately this side, I think it's like a junior primary because it has a living area, a sitting area, and then it also has a bed on this side. And look at this. These cabinets have curtains in them. I don't remember the last time this was in. Okay. So, and then look at this bathroom. This is surely not a gut job renovation. These cabinets look really old. Maybe they've painted them, and these floors are not new. The floors over here are new, but these bathrooms do not look like they were renovated whatsoever. So when they're saying, you know, it was taken down to the studs, fully renovated, somebody's lying. Either the agent just made it up, or the sellers told the agent they did a gut job renovation. But somebody's lying over here. And this is a really important note, especially for real estate agents. If this is the case where the owners just casually said, like, ask more questions. Here's the laundry room. And then I believe there is another bedroom over here, which is pretty small. Okay. And does it have its own bathroom? It does have its own bathroom, which again, I don't think it's renovated. Oh yeah, these fixtures are super old. The counter is old. The floors are super old. Yeah, this is not renovated whatsoever. Okay, we're going to jump back to this hallway over here to the landing area. You get the primary bedroom have its own privacy on this side. You get total of 3 bedrooms upstairs, which is really good. It's like the minimum, actually. It's not really good. 4 would be much better. Now, let's go to her bathroom really quick. Okay, here we go. All right, these paneling look really old. I don't think that's new. I think that's from the old property. Yeah, the floors are new, but I don't think the vanity is new. Look at this vanity. Look at the molding sets around it. Okay, that is not new. Maybe the counter is new. Again, I really doubt this is a gut job renovation. Look at that heavy molding on the top. You're not telling me like you took all that stuff off, you took it to the studs and then put everything back on. I doubt it. I'm pretty sure you just painted it. Okay. Now let's look at some of the old video of this property when it was before it was renovated, and it was on the market for, I want to say 18 or 19 million, and it didn't sell. So they renovated the property, added another 10 million on top to sell it, and they still haven't sold it. Okay, what did you guys think? Exterior architecture, I kind of liked it the way it was. I don't think it's like the blueprint for, Caribbean architecture, but it has character. Like they've done the awnings, they've done the shutters, the color is off-white to give that Caribbean vibe and energy. On the exterior right now, by washing it out, you just took the identity away from it and you didn't replace it with anything else. You just bleached it. Okay, the floors are actually pretty cool. The molding is exactly the same that it was. Again, they totally did not. They did not do a gut job renovation, that's for sure. Maybe they've changed some part of the house, but not all of it, okay? The windows are the same. Even the knobs and the fixtures are the same. And it has so much more character the way it was. Now, you could have maybe improved on some stuff, but I don't think you should have washed this out. Like you just made it look like any other property. And I don't think that was the problem. I really don't think the fact that, it was a Caribbean architecture was the problem. I think the layout, that whole generational living concept of it is the problem, because in that price point, that's not what they were looking for. They're not looking for, to have their grandkids be right next to the parents and the great grandparents and everybody together. They want a normal home, okay? This is really interesting because this looks so much better as far as functionality as how they've set it up right now. Look, they've put a pool table here. This is an adult entertainment area where it should have been like had a bar also, like where the adults can hang out. It had that separation from the family quarter so the kids could be watching movies or cartoons on the other side by the kitchen. And this area where the adults could hang out, you still have that indoor-outdoor flow. And that, we have a pool room where it has an identity, it has a function to it, right? Instead of the current setup is like you have got two offices right next to each other. Did you guys get what just happened over here? This is exactly where the kitchen, family room, breakfast nook is. They took this wall out, okay? Which was a good move. I think it's a good move. But again, the character and identity, they took that out too with it, which I don't think they should have. I really think this has a lot more character. It has that nautical theme, has that Caribbean experience. It just fits the architecture so much better. It's so funny because I just saw this like reel that like from the 60s to 70s, 80s, and 90s, they've been taking all the colors out of, architecture, interior design and everything. Everything's just becoming like, whites and off-whites as to the 60s and 70s had so much color. But there are parts of the world, like in Miami included, where you have so much culture and texture and the Caribbean culture where there's a lot of color in it. And it's so playful and nice. And, washing it out, this is a bad example of executing washing it out for the sake of thinking people would gravitate towards it, because I think it had so much more character before. Wow, the old kitchen wasn't that bad. The layout is not as good as the way it was. Like right now, it's just one big room, and all the rooms are really like you have that wholeness of the family room, the living room, and the breakfast area, and the openness to the outside, more natural light coming into. But this was a really tough call for them. I don't know if they got the best advice because I think you could have opened that door and kept this kitchen, and I don't think they've added that much value to justify getting rid of this kitchen for what they've done. This is not what I would have advised them to. I would have certainly advised them to keep the character of the home because it matches the architectural style. And a lot of people like this. Again, not in these color themes, but the architectural nautic theme of the Caribbean style. It resonates with a lot of people. Yeah, this is really dark. I think they could have toned it down a little bit. But again, I still like the fact that it's cohesive and has a single identity to it. Yeah, the vanities are the same. The molding is the same. They've probably just finished the counters and did the floors over here. Okay, they really neutered this. I really think they got bad advice and they went the wrong way. Let me explain why. Look, yes, did they need new counters? Yes. New fixtures, new knobs, new vanities. Did they need to freshen up this Caribbean architecture on the interior side? Absolutely. Was it necessary to open that wall? Yes. Those elements were absolutely right decisions to do. But sucking out the character of this home is not going to help you sell. I really hope not, for the sake of anyone who likes or appreciates Caribbean architecture, because they've just neutered it. They just took everything out. Right now, that club family room area, to me, it looks like a retirement home. It looks like a funeral home. It has no character. It looks like a clubhouse where, old people play bingo. This was fun. This was interesting. Okay, clearly somebody's lying here. Okay, either the real estate agent is lying, or the owners told the real estate agent they did a complete gut job renovation, and he just parroted, what the owner said.
We're talking a full, complete rebuild down to the studs.
Every detail was touched here.
To me, this is absolutely false advertising, and it's criminal. You're saying you did something that you did not, and you're trying to get the extra money from the buyers for it. And it's just not ethical. It's not correct. I don't agree with it. Whoever who did it, I don't really care. I'm not here to point finger and say you're a bad person, a good person. I want this to stop in this industry. Okay, misrepresentation has no place in residential real estate. Okay, this is the guest house. It's really long and narrow, and I don't think they've changed much about this property whatsoever on this side. It looks pretty much identical. Again, maybe the floors and notarizing some facts about the property. But what bothers me the most is that the unsymmetric nature of this part of the house, okay? It really takes away the architectural element of the house in total, because it's all connected and it comes across as one piece. And it just looks like, a mutated version of the side of the house, like it had a stroke on one side or something. Okay, let's jump back to the original video and see what they have to say before the video ends, and then I'm going to give it an Arvin score at the end of the video.
I love this skylight. I love the width of the hallways. I love also the width of the floor. Like, there's a real attention to detail. Even here, even in the sliding door system they have here.
What about the width of the planks of the floor? That's like 7, maximum 9 inch. That's not even that wide of a plank for floors. In ultra luxury where people are asking $20-30 million, they're using, 12 inch, 13 inch, much longer planks. Each one of these is like 5 foot. Come on. Again, I don't agree. And look at this room. It looks dead. Okay, this is the guest house. Do you see it? It's pretty much exactly the same. They painted the cabinets. They didn't even change the counters over here. They changed the floors, but the molding is the same. The doors are the same. The fixtures are the same. Come on. Come on. Okay, let's talk about this double lot situation, okay? Because it's pretty cool. The fact that they've used the clubhouse, okay, as a corridor connecting these two pieces is pretty cool. Why? Because it gives you that setback. It puts the swimming pool in the middle, which all the areas in the house look into, right? You have more openings. All the areas in the guest house open up to the swimming pool area. The whole clubhouse opens up to the swimming pool area, and the main house connects to the swimming pool area. But the only problem is that the architectural style of the clubhouse and the guest house are just nowhere close as to up to par with the main house. I find this architectural style pretty beautiful. I think it's really nice. They just took all the character and life out of it, right? It's a perfect example of neutered architecture. Okay, before I give this property an Arvin score, let's go over the price history of this property, because this is what you have to really pay attention to, okay? Sometimes it's hard to pull comps because it's a double lot or a weird architectural style. And the best comp for the house is the house itself. Okay, remember that. If a house is sold, it's much easier to look at the past history and comp the house based on last sale and adjust for improvements or appreciation of that area. Now, let's take a look over here. This property was originally purchased for $7 million in 2020. Okay, then it was listed for sale in 2023 for $24.9 million. Then they've reduced it to 21.95, and then they reduced it in 2024 to $19.5 million. And now, after renovating it, they've took it off market for whatever, 6 months, 9 months, 10 months, a year, put it back on the market for $27.5 million, thinking those little renovations they did actually added value. Now, don't listen to what I say. Tell me in the comments what you think, okay? Do you think they've added enough value to justify this price increase? Because it didn't even sell for 19.5. And to me, I would have much rather purchased this property at a discount when it was listed at 19.5 than the way they've renovated it, because I just don't agree with the finishes whatsoever. Okay, let's give it an Arvin score. But first, if you're planning to do something like this, combine lots, modernize the older architecture, remodel your property, or build your dream home, and you want me to pressure test your design based on the 10 principles that I'm about to score this property before you submit it to the city or commit millions and millions of dollars to build, I would love to be that guy to you. I love to give you that head start, critique your design, tell you what I think of it, and then give you 12 months of support during the construction when a lot of decisions that you have to make. It's going to be very useful to have a unbiased person look after your best interest to make sure you have the highest resale value when you sell your property. Okay, location. Look, great area. It's one of the best areas in Boca Raton. I'm going to give it an 8. Lot quality. Look, it's a double lot. It's all flat. You're on the water, and I know what you're thinking. Arvin, the ratio is not there. It's too wide, right? You don't have that much depth. Yes, you don't. But the good thing about it is that if you have a big boat, you can park it right up front. And if you're on the water, in the coastal waterway, I much rather have it this way than a long lot facing the water. And for all those considerations, I'm going to give it an 8.5. Lot utilization. Look, I thought this was pretty smart. The motor court was tugged in and hugged by the parking spaces right next to it. So they manufactured that little approach, even though you don't really have a private driveway. And then the fact that they sunk in that clubhouse to allow the swimming pool to be very central to all the three structure. I think it was as good as you can get for a lot of the, being this wide and not enough depth. And for that reason, I'm going to give it an 8.5. Privacy. I really like the fact that the structures are kind of blocking the privacy for your backyard. But at the end of the day, you're on the intercoastal highway. You got that privacy, but people can look in and the security is not ideal. It's going to get an 8. Lot orientation. Look, it's west facing. In this situation, I much rather be on this side of the intercoastal highway than the other side. Why? Because in the afternoon when I'm home, I want my house to be lit. And west facing, you're going to get that natural light. And because it's a double lot, it's a white lot, you're going to get a lot of natural light coming in. I'm going to give it a 7.5. Architectural style. Look, this was probably originally a 7. They turned it into a 5. They really messed this up. They should not have messed with the architectural style of the house. They should have actually made it more authentic. They should have doubled down on the Caribbean vibe and energy. That itself could have been a deciding factor because the layout and the scale and everything else just did not really help you anyway. So the architectural style could have been a differentiating factor, and they totally took it in the wrong direction. And for that reason, it's going to get a 5. Views. Look, you get water views from pretty much all the rooms in this house. So it's really good. I just don't rate the intercoastal waterway view as ocean view, right? For that reason, I got to give it a 7. Layout. This is a big one. They neutered the architectural style without really giving the functionality, the big windows, big openings, the pocket doors that would really give you that wow factor when you walked in. So it was modernized, but not really. Like they used all the old doors and windows when, if you're taking that route, you really need to open it up to at least really, attract that buyer to come over and get that, wow element as soon as they walked in. And then the layout was super choppy. The main house didn't show at all anywhere close to, $27 million. I don't think that generational layout is really appealing at this price point. I think it really maxes out at $4 or $5 million. Anything above that, it becomes a negative unless you're using it for a vacation home. For all these reasons, I really think I can't give anything more than a 5 over here. Scale and volume. This did not show like a $27.5 million home. It looked like, a $5 million home attached to another clubhouse and then, townhouse. So the volume was not there whatsoever. It showed way smaller than it could have. And for that reason, I have to give it a 4. Finishes. Look, redoing the floors and the kitchen doesn't mean gut job renovation for the whole house. Okay? A lot of areas they were painting over, molding. They were covering stuff up, using the same vanities before, maybe changing the slab. This is a very hodgepodge of new and old and covered up stuff. I can't give this anything more than a 5.5. Okay, here's the Arvin score, and this is the Monaco Grand Prix Formula 1 penthouse, which got taken down by a copyright claim, and I fought it back and I won. So you can watch it over here. A lot of you have missed it. Here's the QR code for the inner circle. I'll see you guys in the comments. Thanks for watching.